All right, we're going to talk about congruent triangles. We know that two polygons are congruent if and only if their corresponding parts are congruent. All right, so in this case, A goes with H because look, they both got two congruency dashes or arcs. B only has one, so B goes with J, because it only has one, and C goes with K. Okay? So having that's all, the angles are the same. Okay? So let's look at the sides. Okay? So AB goes with HJ. Okay? Because they both have one congruency dash. BC has 2, goes with KJ, which has 2, and AC goes with KH, because they both have 3 congruency symbols. So those are, ABC is congruent to HJK. And you notice that I said A goes with, because you have to say it in the same order. So I'm going 2 to 1, because I said A, B, C. So that's 2 to 1, 2, 3. So that means it's H to J to K. All right? If two angles of one triangle are congruent to two angles of a second triangle, then the third angle the triangles are congruent. So if two angles of one triangle are congruent, okay, so basically it says that if you have two angles that are congruent, then the third angle is going to be congruent as well. All right? We have 3 different properties. The reflexive property says that a triangle is equal to itself, is congruent to itself. The symmetric property says that if ABC is congruent to EFG and then EFG is congruent to ABC. So it's backwards. Okay, it's true. And the transitive says that if ABC is congruent to EFG and EFG is congruent to JKL, then ABC is congruent to JKL. Pretty self-explanatory. So it says here, identify all the congruent sides and angles. Okay? Then write a congruent statement for the triangle. So we know that if we're talking about the angles, okay, so we know that A is congruent to J because they both have one dash, one arc right here, and one here. Okay, B has 2, goes with K, and C goes with L. So that's the angles. If we're talking about the sides, then we know that, let me erase this. Okay, so we're talking about congruent sides. So AB, side AB, is congruent to, that's 1, it's congruent to JK. Okay. BC, right here, okay, it has that. So BC is congruent to KL, right here. And then the very last one, AC, is congruent to JL. Then it says to write a congruence statement. A congruence statement is just a statement saying that they are congruent using the congruency symbol, which is the little equal sign with the squiggly over top of it. So we're going to say triangle ABC is congruent to, now it's important that we go to in the same order. So if I look over here, I said A to B to C, so that means it's going to be J to K to L. Now, one of the things to take a note of is in the Google form, you can't put that congruency symbol. So instead of that, put an equal sign with a tilde right beside it to symbolize congruency. So that's the way you handle that. So find the values of x and y when triangle ABC is congruent to FDE. So here's the thing. We know that ABC is congruent to FDE. We know that. So F, okay, so we know that D right here is Y, okay? That has one congruency symbol. So D is congruent to B, okay, which is right here. Okay, so we know that Y is equal to 48 because they're congruent, okay? Then we can say that F and A are congruent. F and A are congruent. Well, we don't know anything about the measurements at this point of these these angles here. But we do know that we can figure this out. So if I add 108 plus 48, that's 156. Okay, and then say 180 minus 156. Okay. Borrow from that 8, make that 10, 4, 24. So we know that this is 24 degrees. Okay? So now we know that we can say this, we can say 2x minus y is equal to 24. We also know that y is 48, so that gives us 2x minus 48 is equal to 24. Okay, we plug that into Desmos, all right, and we say 2x minus 48 is equal to 24, and we find that x is equal to 36. Okay? So x is equal to 36. So y is equal to 48 and x is equal to 36 degrees.